CBS 13 is asking why a man accused of murder was released from prison early.
I wanted answers to those questions, and it went ignored until you started asking the questions.
CBS 13 investigative reporter Julie Watts is here. She has been working to get answers on this one for 6 months.
Part of the confusion is that CDCR release credits and policies are constantly evolving. And there are two ways out of prison under voter-approved Prop 57, which gives the agency broad authority. There's an early parole review where DAs and victims have the chance to contest a release, and they must be notified if someone is eventually paroled. Or there's the enhanced or accelerated prison release credits, which were supposed to be earned. But as of last year, CDCR started giving out standardized credits and reduced sentences. And unlike parole, they don't have to reveal the credit calculations to victims or prosecutors who often don't know about the releases unless or until someone commits another crime.
A man accused of killing, then dismembering a 77-year-old woman inside her home.
In the case of Darnell Irby, CDCR wouldn't explain why he was out when he was arrested for allegedly killing and dismembering an elderly woman in her home. CDCR's statement only made broad reference to time served and parole.
That's not how the system is supposed to work.
Placer County DA Morgan Geyer wanted to know why Irby was out.
We're supposed to know how and when and why inmates are released, and we're supposed to be given that opportunity in advance so that we can prepare victims.
A repeat offender, Irby had been serving time for crimes in both Placer and Amador counties and was incarcerated more than half a dozen times since 1998, repeatedly reoffending shortly after release. Irby was accused of violations while in prison and was denied parole at least 3 times for his latest conviction due to his, quote, risk of violence and criminal activity.
I am dependent on the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to give me that information that my community so richly deserves.
Geyer assumed Irby was released on credits because CDCR is legally required to notify him of a parole, so he sent this letter asking CDCR for an explanation back in August, and so did we. Neither of us received a response. Well, now, 6 months later, following news of 2 new bills that would force CDCR to reveal the secret calculations that led to an inmate's release, the agency is now clarifying Irby wasn't released on credits, but rather a Prop 57 early parole. They simply forgot to notify the DA, apologizing to him in an email to us.
Is it frustrating to you that the Department of Corrections gave me more information than they gave you?
It's insulting, yes. It's frustrating. I wrote that letter because I wanted answers to those questions, and it went ignored until you started asking the questions.
But what's more concerning to Geyer? The reason for release.
Well, it's disingenuous.
Irby was denied parole in 2020 due to limited rehabilitation, a long history of reoffending shortly after release, and rules violations while in jail. But 1 year and 1 substance abuse program later, all those aggravating factors, reasons to keep him in prison, suddenly became mitigating factors, reasons for his release.
What this demonstrates is they came up with the conclusion that he was to be released, and they justified it with the same exact information that was used to keep him in a year before.
Which may have had deadly consequences.
Now, there are no hearings for a Prop 57 parole review. A commissioner simply reviews the case and decides. The Placer DA says he did contest the parole in 2021. CDCR says they notified the Amador County DA of Irby's release.